Hi all. Today let's discuss about variables in SSIS. So how to declare a variable and what are the purpose of the variables and what are the scope of the variable and how to use the variable in the packages. So variables can store the values and can change during the runtime, and it can be created with various scopes. So like task level variables, container level variables, and package level variables. The maximum scope of the variable is a package. Maximum scope of a variable is a package only. I cannot create a project level variables in SSIS. And so once the variable scope is defined, it can be changed from 2012 SSIS version onwards, and it cannot be changed in the 2008 R2 and 2005. Variable scope cannot be changed once defined in the 2005 and 2008 versions. There are two type of variables in SSIS. First one is the user defined variables and second one is the system defined variables. And so system defined variables are the read only variables, so it cannot change. So these are all the system defined variables. It automatically loads from the system. So user defined variables are comes with a user keyword. System defined variables are comes with a system keyword. And what are all the steps to create a variable and how to use those variables in the package. So let's see a small demo how to use the variables in the SSIS. So let me go to the SSDT. So let's create a new package. Okay, so let me rename it to a meaningful name. Let me make it as a variables. Okay, yeah, it changed now. So now what are all the steps? Let's create a package and create a variable. So let me create a variable. How to create a variable in SSIS? Just simply right click in the empty space and click on the variables. This is a one type. Okay, so by default these variables come in the down. You can change the place, so from here to here. Okay, so how to create a new variable? So let's click on this add variable button in the top left here. Okay, let's click on it. So now I'm going to put a variable name as a player ID. Okay, and so scope variable is nothing but a package name. Now I'm defining a variable at the scope of a package. And what is the data type? I can declare whatever I want. So I'm going to keep it as a 32. So value I'm going to keep it as a 5. Okay, so I'm keeping as a value as a 5. So once I'm done variable declaration, so I can hide it, or if you don't want to hide, you can fix it by keeping here. Okay, now so let me design a package. So let me take my task execute SQL task. I'm planning to use that variable in the execute SQL task. So when I say execute SQL task, so execute SQL task works only with a SQL Server related activities. Okay, first working with execute SQL task, I need a connection manager. Okay, so how to create a connection manager and how to link that connection manager with execute SQL task, we'll see here. Just double click on it. So once you double click on it, so here it will show you the connection type is OLEDB and connection. If you already have some connections, it automatically comes here. If you don't have any connection, you simply click on the new connection. So once you click on new connection, so it will show you what are all the available connections. If you already created some of the connections, it automatically comes here. If you did not create anything, this entire box is empty in the left side. So in the earlier example, I created one connection manager. That is the reason why it is giving earlier connection manager name. So let me create a new connection manager to show you. Click on new here. So once you click on here, it will ask you the server name. Server name can be anything, like you can give an IP address, or if you are connecting to a local machine, you can put dot, and my instance name I'm going to put. My instance name is ./SQL 2012, and I'm going to put going with a Windows authentication. If you're planning to go with a SQL authentication, put username and password. You can put a save my password, but I'm planning to go with a Windows authentication. And let's select the database name. Select database name. I am going with a sample. Click on test connection. If there are any issues while creating connection, it will pop up here. So my test connection is succeeded. I can go with this connection manager. Click on OK and click on OK. Now, so with the help of this step, I created one connection manager. That connection manager comes here. Click on OK. See, I created a connection manager and I linked with my execute SQL task. Now, so I am going to put a SQL statement. So here I can put a stored procedures. I can put views. I can put all the SQL object names here. So I am going to put a SQL statement. What is my SQL statement is I want to delete one row from the SQL table. So one row from the SQL table. So what is the statement to delete? Delete from table name. So my table name is TBL players. Delete from players. Okay. So if you execute this statement, it deletes all the rows from the table. But I don't want to do that. I want to delete only specific row. So to delete a specific row, we have to put delete from table name where player ID equal to some number we have to put like this. Okay, player ID. So I need to put some number, but I don't want to hard code this value. I want to pull this value from the variable. So how to pull it? Okay, so this is how we have to design a SSIS execute SQL task. Now the next step is link that variable and task. How to link? Let's specify here with a question mark. So when I say question mark, it means that it pulls the value, it uses the variable value here. Okay, next step. So as a first step, you need to replace the hard coded value with the question mark. As a second step, you need to link that variable and task. Where we have to link? If you see in the left side, we are in the general tab now. Let's go to the second parameter mapping. Let's go to parameter mapping. Click on add. So once you click on add, here you will get the list of variables which you declared and system defined variables as well. Okay, let's go here. Here you will be getting variable name. So this is a variable I declared and direction is input. Data type is long or integer is fine. So parameter is I'm going to use parameter name, or I can put a index 0 and I'm going to put it here also 0. So click on OK. So this is how we have to link the variable and SSIS packages or tasks. So now if you see what is the value I hard coded here for my variable, player ID is 5. Let me see is the 5 is there or not. Okay, so let me run the table in my table. Yeah, I have a 5 with a player ID as 5, a Mirja, India. Okay, now let me go here and let me run this. So I can simply click on F5 or I can use the green arrow button to run it. Okay, yeah, it got succeeded. This green tick mark indicates the package is succeeded. If it fails, it gives you red cross mark. Okay, so let's stop this. Yeah, and go to the SQL window. If you see here, before running the query, before that it's a old result. I have 5. Now let me run it. I don't have a 5. You see here 4 and 6 only I have. Means my package has deleted one row from the SQL table. So this is how we can link the variable and package. So now if you want to change the values at runtime, if you want to change the variable value at runtime, so you can put a dynamic expression here. You can put a dynamic expression here. So if you already know the syntax, you can simply write here. Otherwise, click on this browse button. So there you can write some expression. Okay, and you can see the you can evaluate the expression here itself. Okay, so this is how we can change the variable values at runtime. Okay, so thank you.